what the future holds, right? But I can tell you there's an amazing number of discoveries happening all over the country and the world that are helping us understand what causes cancer to develop in the first place, what causes it to move around your body and metastasize, which is really the killer, and why is it evading the therapies that we have. So students in my lab are working on a variety of projects. They're working on understanding how cancer interacts with the immune system. EGFR is a really powerful oncogene, and we have therapies against it in other cancer types where it stays at the cell surface and activates that signal transduction. But in breast cancer, we know that in the most advanced cases of the disease, the metastatic disease, therapeutic resistant disease, we know it's not staying at the surface. And so those therapies that work so great for other cancers aren't working for breast cancer. And so what we're doing in my lab is trying to find ways to block that trafficking where it's going inside the cell, because we know that we've developed 3 different drugs over the years, all that block this ability for it to get into the nucleus. And we know that when we can block its ability to travel in there, we can really kill these cancer cells, and we can block their ability to move around the body in ways that we hope will be therapeutically impactful for patients once we get it to that stage. Really just been discovered in the last couple decades is that it doesn't stay there and hand off that signal like we previously thought that it did. It actually internalizes into the cell and goes to the nucleus itself, where instead of waiting for all these signals to come in and tell the cell what to do, it just sort of drives right there. And because it's doing that, then that is helping it evade some really standard therapies that we have against this really powerful, we call it an oncogene, something that causes cancer to progress. So the more that we can understand how the immune system's interacting with the cancer and how this gene that's such a strong and potent oncogene is modulating the cancer effect, the closer we'll be to making therapies for people. We sort of started off in one therapeutic space, developed a drug. The drug worked, but then we found all sorts of problems with what's called formulation. So basically taking something that works in the lab and turning it into something that will work inside of a human body. And we learned a lot about what the problems were with that particular drug, and then we found a new drug. So we picked a different place in the pathway that we thought would be more specific to cancer, and we used what we learned the first time to make that drug better, so formulate it better. And the second time, it formulated so well that it became very toxic. So this protein, EGFR, that's present in cancer is actually present in all the cells in your body. It just works differently in the cancer. And what we found is that it was knocking out its activity everywhere in the body. So we had a lot of toxicities. So again, we went back to the drawing board and we said, okay, so this particular part of this pathway, every cell in your body is using. Can we find a spot in the pathway that only the cancer is using? Then use all the other things that we've learned on these other projects and see if we can develop something that's going to work better. And so that takes us to the third drug, where we are right now. And we found something that seems to be really cancer specific, works really well at blocking EGFR from getting into the nucleus. The activities of this drug is opening up all these new pathways of research, because we're finding out that when we truly block just EGFR in the nucleus, boy, that's when we get the immune system activated and all these other cell types doing things that we hadn't expected. So that's where we are right now in the therapeutic development. To be able to try and understand biology is a fantastic thing to do day in and day out, because it's just so complicated and amazing, and you're always surprised at what has evolved in nature. It's never what you think. Your hypotheses are almost always wrong in a beautiful way, because then it drives you down a new avenue and you find out something completely unexpected. So I think to be a biologist is to be full of wonder.